Hi everyone, Joe here from Commonhold now. Today we're in the great city of Boston where there's an important anniversary coming up.
We will not pay that tax!
December 16th, 1773. One of the most important dates in the history of the United States. The Boston Tea Party. The day the colonists took a dramatic stand against British rule. It's the event that sparked the American Revolution. On this fateful night, Samuel Adams and the Sons of Liberty dumped more than 300 crates of tea into the harbor. It was their patriotism that led to the freedom of each and every one of us.
Sound familiar? Leasehold is a form of taxation without representation, but one where only part of the proceeds end up with the British government. The rest appear to go to faceless shell companies who are protected and enabled by what Michael Gove described earlier this year as an outdated feudal system that needs to go. We completely agree with him.
Joe's exactly right. Leasehold is a form of taxation without representation. Unlike our American brothers and sisters, we in this country have never had the revolutionary zeal to abolish the abusive leasehold system that renders so many of us second-class citizens with no control over the costs that we must bear to live in our homes. We've had politicians of all parties wave leasehold abolition in front of our faces for the last 150 years, only for us to see it snatched so cruelly away at the last minute, left with reform that means nothing. You only have to go back to 2002 when a Labour government was in power to understand what that means.
The government has just launched a shake-up of its leasehold regulations in a move which could affect millions of people in England and Wales. Under current laws, leaseholders do not have the right to own or manage their own home and can expect to lose much of the value of their property. But if the Commonhold and Leasehold Reform Bill goes through, all this could change. Here to explain what these changes could mean is Shula Rich from the Leasehold Enfranchisement Association. Tell us about Commonhold. What's the idea behind it?
Commonhold is a thoroughly democratic way of owning a flat. All the leaseholders own the same amount and they own together. There's no more landlord, there's no more leaseholder, there's no more adversarial system. It's a peaceful, democratic, secure way of living. And the rest of the world has had it for many years, and England is actually the last country to have leasehold. And I hope very much that everything will be Commonhold soon.
Shula Rich's dream never came true. The Act was passed, but over 20 years later, there's been no mass shift to Commonhold. So what went wrong?
We, the people, had the right to transfer to Commonhold, but with 100% agreement and 100% agreement from the freeholder and any mortgage companies, it was more or less a no-no. There's always one. We could not get 100% agreement. So on the one hand, they gave it to us. On the other hand, they made it impossible for us to actually attain it. In addition, we expected Commonhold to be for all new developments. That should have been mandatory. And the corollary of that was a sunset clause on leasehold. I was on the Lord Chancellor's Commonhold Working Party. I remember Richard Lambert, who was then the representative of the British Property Federation. He said, if there is a sunset clause on leasehold, the British Property Federation will not support Commonhold. And the representative of Lease, who was there at the time, said something like, oh well, that's that then.
Did you have any actual ruling party Labour MPs that were saying at the time that the 2002 Act, or Bill as it was then, wasn't going far enough in providing that mass shift to Commonhold?
My recollection is that Barry Gardner was the one MP who really knew his stuff. And on the day that the 2002 bill to become an act was being debated, he appeared and he stood up, and he stood up for us, and he said that he did not believe this act, about to become an act, was going to be a success.
Look, I don't think I was aggressive. I think I just stated what was blindingly obvious, and that was that the bill wasn't going to achieve what leaseholders needed. And I think in my second reading speech I said we would have to revisit this 6 or 7 years hence. Well, here we are 21 years hence, and the problems still have not been solved.
What did you make of the fact that Labour, ahead of the 97 election, did promise in this document called An End to Feudalism by Nick Rainsford and the late Frank Dobson that all future flats would be sold on a Commonhold basis? There'd be no more leasehold going forward, there'd be a sunset clause. That wasn't delivered ultimately, was it?
No, making sure that all new apartments were sold as Commonhold was absolutely essential, and it didn't happen. So I felt that leaseholders had a right to feel that we hadn't delivered.
The Honourable Lady finally asked me if we would maintain our commitment to abolishing the feudal system of leasehold. We absolutely will. We will be bringing forward legislation shortly. But I would gently say to the Honourable Lady that the urgency that she makes the case for change with is not an urgency that was exhibited by the last Labour government. In 1995, I think we can actually. In 1995, this brilliant document, An End to Feudalism, was published by the Labour Party, and then during all its years in power, the Labour government did nothing to end feudalism. You need a Conservative government to do that, and that is what we will do.
Look, I think you've got to welcome the fact that the government is trying to do something here. Now, I just hope that they're in listening mode, because we do need all new properties to be Commonhold. We can't have leasehold continue. Ultimately, what the government is proposing is not to abolish leasehold. That is a mistake. We need to abolish leasehold.
And now here we go again. In last weekend's Sunday Times, there was a story about the government's plans to abolish the feudal leasehold system. When you look at the available detail, it's nothing of the sort. Leasehold new build houses ban, yes, we've heard that one before, in July 2017, over 6 years ago. And you know what? Less than 1% of all new build houses now are sold on a leasehold basis. It's a drop in the ocean. The real money, the real abuse, the real problem is in leasehold flats. I was 1 year old when Labour promised to the British people that there would be an end to feudalism, that there would be no more leasehold flats that would be created and sold, and that Commonhold, yes, after years of Tory dinner and delay, would finally become common. Since a failure to enforce Commonhold in the 2002 Act, nearly 2 million more leaseholds have been created in thousands of new residential towers.
What I love about this room is that it's free-flowing, so it allows you to seamlessly move between spaces. We have the dining area here.
I like the fact that they've done a shaver socket recessed into the bathroom cabinet.
We're now on the 41st floor, checking out a studio apartment. This one's priced at £600,500. The bedroom area is actually on the left here, quite cleverly hidden and separated by these walls.
All those families, enticed by the illusion of home ownership, were lured into the debt trap that is leasehold. None of it should have happened. And now, 28, I've spent half a decade campaigning to get this system removed. The time for being polite, hobnobbing with MPs and officials, and petitioning at the feet of the Emperor government is over. Now we've got to do something real to take control of our homes, our money, and our lives. The Prime Minister's not the only one who pledged to shred a load of toxic red tape. He didn't do it though, did he? I've not got an army of civil servants to feed the paper through, and I've not got industrial strength shredders. I've got this tiny one, but let's use it. Now that's nearly £28,000 in service charge alone this year. It's an electricity bill, £6,000, and we're forced to buy our energy from the freehold. The air cooling is not working today, it just blows out warm air. We've not had our windows cleaned for a year. We seem to have a black fly infestation. It's been almost 3 weeks without proper hot water. The engineers said they would attend again today. They didn't attend. The water from the freeholder's flat balcony is running down inside my living room wall. This leasehold has had the same leak for 17 years. Now this one is serious. It's come from one of our leaseholders. They applied to a well-known UK high street bank for a mortgage. They've just been declined. You know the reason? Onerous service charges. I think the shredder is full and I've not even cleared it all. So what to do with all this anger and shredded paper? Joe, is that you?
Hi, Harry.
Where have you been, mate? I've been here the last half hour. It's been chucking it down.
How about welcome back from Boston? Back to reality, but I'm also inspired. I brought down some rip-off insurance demands to chuck in that river.
Honest though, why did you take this long?
Cladding meetings.
Those Bostonians 250 years ago aren't the only ones driven in protest to throw a bunch of stuff into the nearest serious body of water. Tonight I'm at the River Thames, where those 3 East India ships with the T set off to Boston. So are we going to do this or not, mate?
Absolutely.
Reform and abolish! Reform and abolish!
Chicken.
Campaigning is hungry work, so we retreated to the Isle of Dogs' favourite Thai restaurant.
Please have the Thai red curry with beef. Cheers, mate. That felt really good, but at the end of the day, chucking paper into the River Thames, what's it going to accomplish?
You know what? I do have a secret weapon. AB, a Hong Kong influencer who's getting between 100 and 200,000 views a video. Look at what I shot with her yesterday. As for selling new flats on a leasehold basis, we'll see about that. Despite our housing supply crisis in this country, our developers' business model is still geared towards selling these new flats to buyers in Hong Kong, Singapore, Malaysia and China. Just like this development behind me here, Westbury Printworks. And now we're going to speak to AB Wong, a Hong Konger and YouTube influencer, about her experience as a potential first-time buyer of a flat in this country.
Hello， 大家好，我係 AB。如果大家有睇我嘅 YouTube channel 嘅話咧，都知道其實我喺2020年嘅。
The full package in Cantonese with me and AB will be dropping soon on YouTube, Insta and X.
甚至而家係同朋友一齊喺倫敦度夾租嘅。
Because she's got the contact, she's got the audience, and she can even go to developments, not being anti-developer, praising developers that are doing the right thing, share of freehold, resident management company, or even better, Commonhold.
Exactly, yeah. People should know what they're buying into, and that's the problem. I don't think I did at the time.
So if the government and Michael Gove won't abolish leasehold on future flats, let's work with her to do that. AB can't be our only weapon. This is going to be another war of independence. People have been campaigning for 150 years to get rid of leasehold without success. But we will not stop until it is gone for everyone. Free leaseholders.